I want to talk about this seriously, though, for a moment. I did tell you guys not to panic. I did say to Arsenal fans, don't lose your heads. Don't start going crazy. Don't part your cheeks for rivals so soon. You look really dangerous today. You look dangerous. You could see relationships forming with Gyökeres, Saka, Odegaard, and on the left-hand side as well. His movement was better. He was looking fitter. And look, there are things in the game. You could probably, if you're an anorak, if you're a geek, if you don't have a social life, you could put together a compilation of some bad touches and a couple of bad shots, and when a pass or two didn't come off and when a dribble didn't work. But you'll be able to do that in every single game he has. He could score 5 goals in a game, and there would still probably be outtakes from a match that you could couple together, put some ominous or clown music on and make him look bad. But Viktor Gyökeres today was demonstrating exactly why he's one of the best strikers in the world. And I want to start with him when breaking this game down, because it was just, I don't know how many weeks ago on the Top 6 show on the Football Terrace I said this, but he's going to score with his head. I still think the first goal he's going to score in the Premier League is with his head, because people have made such a song and dance about him not scoring with his head. And what a fantastic goal it was. The cross from Zubimendi is excellent. Put it into the danger zone, pinpoint precision, great velocity, nice speed, and Gyökeres, bang, absolute powered it into that bottom corner. He gets, I think, that monkey off of his back. He gets that pressure removed slightly, because it is a game that's being televised. Rivals are watching, big crowd ahead of him. That will help Gyökeres moving forward. But it wasn't just his goal today. He nearly scored another with a diving header as well. It would have been ironic, his first 2 goals in an Arsenal shirt coming from his head. But it just felt like there was a better link-up play. He was making runs. People were trying to find him. It was a far better performance from Gyökeres and his teammates. And because of those 2 goals, and what was I noticed in the first half, when it was 0-0, the space was quite limited. As soon as Arsenal scored, an athletic club played out a bit more from the back, and they were trying to get a goal back, and there was more space, he come into his own. And that is something that Arsenal were punished with last season. They would take leads in many, many games. There'd be opportunities in space. There'd be opportunities to kill games off. And Arsenal weren't able to do it. And tonight, Gyökeres was dominant in those spaces and in those areas. And as his relationship with his teammates improves, as they gel and they get better, you'll see much, much more from him. Now, I'm going to talk about Zubimendi. I'm going to talk about Saka because they have to be mentioned. But Gabriel being back as well, I think, is so important to this Arsenal team. Saliba is one of the best young centre-backs in the world. He'll go on to be one of the best in the world. He's phenomenal. But Gabriel, being the elder statesman, more experienced, leadership material, just settles that back line. There was no real danger on the counter-attacks. There was just better organisation. I wanted to give him a mention there because I thought it was great. I thought the whole back line, Calafiori, Timber and Saliba were excellent. Same with the goalkeeper. But I wanted to talk about a substitute for a moment, because I've been very skeptical, and I'm not saying I've changed my mind. I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm not saying everybody should look at him like he is the next Lionel Messi. But Noni Madueke played very well today when he came on. We always know he can beat a man. He can beat a man with ease. The cross to Gyökeres' head almost went in. Great. But he was just a threat. His link-up play was good. He looked light. He looked light. He looked relaxed. He looked dangerous. And I don't think Martinelli had a particularly bad game, comparing it to the match against Villarreal. But Noni Madueke looked really good when coming on. And what I'll say is this. Yes, it's pre-season. Yes, he has to show consistency. He was a considerable amount of money. But I don't think Arsenal fans saw what they just got from Madueke. They didn't see it once last season. Not once last season from Raheem Sterling. So there is a good sign there. And a lot of football fans always come at me, Terry, and talk about indicators. Well, today is an indicator that he could be a good signing. And I just wanted to shout out Noni Madueke and say, well done, because I thought he was cooking today. He looked sharp and very, very dangerous. There's Bukayo Saka as well. And I need to mention Bukayo Saka because Don put something into one of my podcasts a few days ago saying it looks like he's lost his explosiveness, a bit of pace. He doesn't look as dangerous. And there's been games where Don isn't wrong. In those games, he's looked that way. But today, beating fullbacks for ease, dangerous, scores a goal, got an assist as well. The pass over the top to Kai Havertz, which, by the way, you see how Kai Havertz has been working in that gym. You can see what that extra muscle, that extra power, that extra explosiveness has done for him. But I thought Saka was amazing today. And there's something I've been looking to see all summer, but we never saw the main 11 play, is when everybody's out there, when the ball's being controlled by Zubimendi, when there's creativity and danger in the middle, when you've got one of the most deadly centre forwards in the world, especially once you had a Noni Madueke on the pitch that was beating players, when there's an overlapping fullback for him too, and he's not being doubled up on, tripled up on, ganged up on. It was the very best of Bukayo Saka, and I still think there's levels to go. Doesn't mean he's going to be that good every week, but I keep saying this. I feel like some people, because of the discourse online, are sort of writing him off a little bit. They're overlooking Bukayo Saka as though he really is finished, although he really is, as if he really is done. And I thought he was great. But for me, the standout player today, and I actually think he's been phenomenal every single minute of the games he's played so far in preseason. And I've watched every one of Arsenal's games, barring the last match, but I watched it back, as I told you all. We had the Belieber news to react to. Martín Zubimendi is a world-class football player. In my personal opinion, he's world-class. Some are going to disagree, saying, no, he isn't. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. Some are going to say he's got to prove it first, which is fair, but he will. This man, he's got good physicality, can cover the ground. He's strong, but his intelligence, he reminds, if you were to take two footballers, the two footballers he reminds me of, but combined together, he has the physicality of a Declan Rice, or similar to Rice, but the intelligence of a Michael Carrick. He mixes those two things together impeccably. Controls the game, the tempo, is comfortable facing his own goal, can turn. I watched on a good few occasions. And he might not end up with, and this is where you've got to even be careful with like ball carrying stats. I saw him carry the ball a lot today, but it was only ever like 5-6 yards and he moved the ball on. Could have carried on going, but then doesn't leave or vacate his area. He's very aware, his spatial awareness is very good. But overall, Zubimendi is going to be a colossal signing for Arsenal. I think everybody knows that. For whatever reason, it hasn't had the hype that I think it deserves, but that's not really a problem for Arsenal. He's going to deliver on this football pitch. And I think overall today, what we saw from this Arsenal side is a team that has still got, I think, a way to go to completely gel. I'm adamant you're going to sign somebody else, although the media is saying you're not. I still think somebody else will come in. But you could see today that Arsenal are going to be more attacking this year. You're going to be direct at the right times. Saka's going to get so much more help with better quality in the middle and better quality up front. If the likes of Noni Madueke can continue to have these substitute appearances, listen, he could challenge for a place in the first team. And if his performances are in and around this level, the majority of the time that he plays, I don't think there'll be a single gooner on planet Earth that will care that he's ex-Chelsea, that he cost 48 million, because he was very, very talented tonight. Now, even though I'm saying that, that doesn't mean he doesn't have to work hard, that everyone should just drop any agendas or concerns or worries they've got. That would be stupid. That would be ridiculous. That would be a gross overreaction. And I would never do that to a preseason game. But if you haven't watched a lot of Arsenal this summer, and I have, I've watched all but one of their games. They've had 2 or 3 where I thought they looked really good. Again, in periods, because you've got to look at who's on the pitch, how many subs have been made, etc. But look good, really good in periods. Today, this was a very, very solid 90 minutes. And it left me with the same feeling I have towards Chelsea and the same feeling that I've had towards Liverpool. 2 other teams I've watched a lot over this summer. Chelsea with one preseason game, of course, but they had the Club World Cup. Danger. The word that comes to mind is danger. And I said, I said the other day that with the way Arsenal played in the last 2 matches and the way United have been playing, I fancy us at home. We might nick it 2-1. I also said, and my followers will respect me on this because I'm as honest with them as they are with me, that let's wait and see how we all feel at the end by close of business Saturday when the last 2 preseason games are played. Now I'm a little bit scared. Now I'm dreading it a little bit because you could see Arsenal clicking back into gear. And I've just got a gut feeling, just a little gut feeling. think you guys are going to be more like the 22, 23, 24 Arsenal. I think you're going to attack well this year because of players like Gyökeres. I think you're going to score some more goals. That's going to open opponents up and you'll kill them off more. I think there's going to be less of these really tight 1-0 games where you're struggling to get the second, you're pushing hard for it, you get caught on the counter, you draw the game. I think you'll see a lot less of that this season for Arsenal. And it needs to happen, of course. They've got to be in this title race. They've got to try and win trophies. I think every Arsenal fan knows that. But look, overall today, I thought Arsenal were fantastic, more than valued their win. Probably could have been 4 or 5 as well. And they will feel very, very ready indeed for the beginning of the English Premier League. Now, hit that like button, please. Make sure you're leaving your comments below. Get yourself subscribing. And by my God, Arsenal look good.